Welcome to the Mother Wellness Podcast. I am your host, Sylvia. On this podcast, we talk about all things motherhood and wellness, from mental health, maternal health, parenting tips and tricks, and many, many more. Stay tuned for our current episode. Welcome to episode 5 of the Mother Wellness Podcast. My name is Sylvia and I am your host. Thank you for joining me today. The topic for today is motherhood and identity. So, what is identity? Identity is defined as the fact of being who or what a person or a thing is. Another definition of identity is who a person is, the qualities of a person or a group that make them different from others. So when it comes to motherhood, it's one type of identity that people have, and many a time when we're asked, who are you? As a mother especially, you're probably likely to say, oh, I'm a mum, and then maybe describe your job or whether you stay at home, your ethnic background. Many people don't describe their identity necessarily in terms of their personality traits, whether they're an introvert, extrovert, whether they're chatty, or genetic factors about them, skills or qualities. We tend to describe our identity based on what we do rather than who we are. And I think it's important to distinguish the difference between identity and our roles and responsibilities that we have in our lives. So, the fact of who you are, you as people, we're encompassed by so many different things. One part of us may be our hobbies that we carry out, another part may be the job we do, another factor may be the relationships that we have, such as being a sister, a daughter, a friend, or a worker, etc. And, our identity is multidimensional. There's not just one thing that makes up a person. Even as human beings, there are many different cells in our body that help us to become the full person that we are. So, identity is a very broad topic. However, in relation to motherhood, we can break identity down into so many different sub-roles. As a mother, you're the person that takes care of the children's food, you wash their clothes, you pay for things or buy things for them, you're kind of their doctor when they're sick or their nurse, you're the one that may hug them, nurture them, care for them. These are just some examples of things that mothers do. Obviously, there is no one size fits all definition for who a mother is and what a mother does. However, in general, I believe that it's important to, of course, focus on our roles as mothers, because we have the privilege of having children, whether birthed naturally, adopted, or whether maternal figures. I believe that, when you're mothering or mentoring a child or younger person, that we also remember who we are as a person as well. And so what I want to ask you really is, how would you define your identity? What would you say is who you are? What characteristics would you describe if you were to be asked, who are you? Would you consider the culture you're from, your religious background if you have one, your personality traits, hobbies, activities that you do everyday life, your job or your business? These are some of the things that you may possibly say are part of your identity. And, identity and who you are as a person is unique to everybody. Being unique, being individualized, and having your own personality traits is who we are. That's how we can identify ourselves There are so many ways that identity can be identified. But whatever your identity is, I want you to be at peace with it. And if you're not happy with who you are or what your identity is at this moment in time, what do you feel that you could do to work on that? You know, if you're spending majority of your time as a mother, which can happen, especially when your children are younger, you may spend a lot of time working within the motherhood role or identity. But then as they grow up, you may realize that they don't need you as much and they're much more independent. So then, of course, you will still be their mother. However, what other things, how else can you identify yourself? What can you do as an individual woman or person to be able to continue to grow and develop your own identity? Something that may help is potentially considering how you were prior to becoming a mother. What did you do? What activities did you do? How did you identify yourself back then? It's important to also reflect and look at who we are as people, because the way we behave, our personality traits, the way we communicate, our culture, our faith, etc., all comes together to make us who we are. So my question for you today is, who are you? What is your identity? Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Mother Wellness Podcast. I hope this episode resonated with you. If you require any more information or support, feel free to message me on Instagram and Facebook at motherwellness.ot, or send me an email at motherwellnessot, all one word, at gmail.com. The information will also be left in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.